G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee and welcome back to another episode of r/AmITheA. Now if you love today's bloody good content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, worship whatever you want to worship, I don't care, and have a good time. Don't forget to smash that like button, please, for the algorithm. Let's go. Posted by user Sleepy Throwaway. Titled, Am I the a-hole for faking sleeping all night to see if my wife is lying? The past couple of months, my wife has been complaining about our cats. She's been claiming that the cats wake her up constantly, and that she's frustrated every night that she has to get up and open the door for the cats, or the cats keep making noises, or the cats keep jumping on her. It got to the point where she started saying that she wants me to get rid of them. I told her I've never seen or heard any of this, but she claims I sleep through it all. She kept telling me that she was getting less and less sleep and kept acting aggressive, blaming lack of sleep from the cats and that if I didn't get rid of them, she would leave me. I legitimately started considering giving the cats to my sister until I noticed something. One morning, she claimed she had gotten up multiple times throughout the night to help the cats. She listed a bunch of times. I thought it was weird because I'd been up until 4 a.m. and she claimed that she got up at 1 a.m. to open the door for them and a few times around 3 a.m. because they were meowing and jumping on her. I was in the bedroom the entire time while she slept and I knew none of that happened. Things weren't adding up, so I decided to run a test. I waited until she said that she was going to bed, then I let the cats out of our bedroom, lowered my phone brightness and faked going to sleep. I just laid there in bed for the entire night, bored, but I definitely did not fall asleep. I made sure to make timestamps every 30 minutes on my phone through Discord just to be sure. I marked down every noise my cats made. One cat had jumped down from something and made a little sound at 3:18 a.m., and one ate food relatively quietly by the bedroom door at 4:57 a.m. Other than that, nothing happened. Sure enough, my wife slept from 11 p.m. until 9 a.m., and that morning she claimed she had woken up at least 7 times to open doors and from cat noises and cats jumping on her. At this point, I was pissed because she was clearly lying to me. I was exhausted and fed up with the lies, so I just bluntly called her out on it. I told her, "That's funny. I stayed up all night to monitor the cats, and they weren't even in the room at all last night. I have timestamps and everything. So you've been lying to me and trying to convince me to get rid of my cats? Why?" She just sat there quietly, shaking and looking pissed, then got up and left without answering. She came back hours later and ignored me whenever I talked, and when I asked her how I'm the bad guy in this situation, she finally said that I was treating her like a child by lying about sleeping and staying up all night just to see if she was lying or not, and that making timestamps and everything as if I was an investigator was going too far and makes me an obsessive a-hole. I did it because she was threatening to make me get rid of my cats or she'd leave me, and her claims didn't add up. So am I an obsessive a-hole? Ah yes, you're the one with the problem here. There's nothing wrong with her constantly lying and making this all your fault and forcing an ultimatum on the relationship. Obviously very healthy and a fun dynamic that you've got going on there between you two. Look, I really don't know what to tell you, if not that you deserve better than that, OP. Morally, you're in the clear for this one, and if I was you, I would just leave. Obviously that's easier said than done, but the long-term mental damage just isn't worth it. She just sucks all round. I would feel terrible being stuck with someone like that. Not the a-hole. Now in the comments, Crimson Tide says, "Not the a-hole. That was gaslighting and manipulative. And if she had issues with your cats, she should have said so directly. And don't let her flip this around on you either by making you out to be the bad guy for catching her in a lie. It's a classic move to shift blame. Don't fall for it." Agreed. I actually see a lot of my younger self in OP's wife. I was raised by a major people pleaser, and therefore had, and still have some days, a very hard time articulating my real reasons for wanting something, especially if it was an illogical reason like anxiety or just preference. Needing a logical argument for everything can lead to lying to get the desired effect. And of course, anytime you get caught in a lie, there's major shame. That is exactly what I see in her accusation of treating her like a child. I don't know why it is that she wants the cats gone, but that's the desired outcome for her. Maybe their dirty paws on the counter are grossing her out, or she doesn't want to take them into account when moving to a new apartment, or she just wants a dog. Or maybe she's looking for a reason that she needs to leave OP, and I just don't feel like being in this relationship anymore feels less logical than I couldn't deal with his cats. Who knows? This isn't to excuse her behavior. It absolutely is manipulative and not an adult way of communication. However, if your relationship in general is something you want to keep, this feels like something a marriage counselor might be able to help the two of you communicate better. Not the a-hole. But you've kind of called her bluff about her leaving you now you've removed the cat's excuse from the equation. Wishing you all the best. If it's her or the cats and you're on the fence, why the hell are you two still together? She told you she wants the cats gone. She's told you she will leave you if the cats are not gone. Your choice was a power move, sure, but at what cost? She still wants the cats out. If you're in a marriage where one partner is giving ultimatums based off lies, I don't think getting rid of a few cats are going to save the relationship. Not the a-hole in my opinion. You had to test her. She's trying to get you to get rid of your pets and essentially blackmailing your relationship over it. What's your next move? And OP replies, I honestly don't know my next move. We've been essentially perfect together for years, and she's never done anything like this before. I didn't even realize she was capable of such immature actions. I'd hate to have to go through a messy divorce and potentially lose a bunch of my own money and items over one lie I've ever caught her in. It might be easier and cheaper to just deal with the situation through couples therapy and give it one more chance, honestly. Though the prenup we signed could make a potential divorce a lot cleaner. Is this recent since the pandemic? So many Am I the A-hole posts in the past year essentially boil down to a partner doing something insane and unexplained, and it either uncovers a big lie, like cheating or financial loss, or it's a sign of cracking from a world shift where many people lost jobs, family members, security in their jobs and finances, and obviously stuck together inside with no clear hope of an end. It's zero excuse for lying, but I mention it because I'm wondering if it could be something related to a sudden increase in stress or paranoia that she's taking out on the cats. Couples therapy could be a good method to try and dig up whatever's behind this. Your mileage may vary with couples and might be safer to each try individual counseling and meet together with the therapist to discuss individual goals. Just on the chance that the recent demands about the cats are based on something manipulative, such as her wanting control over things, or getting a rise out of creating conflict. Interesting advice, and sorry that I jumped on the train of get away from this person isn't good for you. I know that obviously isn't always the best advice, but sometimes it is. Sometimes it isn't. What do you guys think of these comments in this story? I'm actually curious to know what you think down in the comments below. Our next post is by user Am I the A-hole 790, titled, Am I the a-hole for calling the police on my husband? So my husband's car doesn't work, and he needs money to get it fixed. He doesn't have enough money. I'm in medical school and have been getting ready for my exams for a month now. Every month, he and his friends go on a road trip. His car's been sitting in the garage for 3 months now. He asked if he could take my car to take the guys on a road trip since it was his turn to take them. I told him I need the car, since I have a weak immune system and public transportation might be risky, and I can't afford to get sick in the middle of my exams. He begged, saying his friends are gonna say that he ruined the trip, and our discussion got nowhere. The trip was last week. I had an exam the day of the trip and left at 8 a.m. I had several things to do. I stopped by the coffee shop to use the internet, I arrived at the university at 8:30 and entered the hall getting ready for my exam. After I finished, I spent a few minutes with my friends and then I left. I got to the parking lot and my car wasn't there. I started freaking out, thinking I might have left the door open or something. I called my husband, but he didn't pick up. My friends immediately told me to call the police. I ended up waiting for them to ask me about what happened, and the officer said I needed to come to the station to give my statement. I stayed there for 4 hours, then I was told my car was found. My husband was driving it and was picked up an hour away from where we lived. I was shocked and mad. It never occurred to me that he was the one who took it. I went home and waited till he got back. He was upset and didn't want to talk about what he did. The argument started when he said he made a copy of the key and didn't take the car till he made sure I arrived for my exam. I yelled at him and told him it was not okay. He caused me to stress out and worry about the car. He told me calling the police was drastic and shouldn't have gotten involved, but I had no idea he took the car. He said he wanted to text me but forgot. He said the trip was ruined and he was embarrassed by being picked up by the police while he was with his friends. He still thinks calling the police was an over-the-top reaction, but what was I supposed to do? I genuinely agree with you there though. You couldn't have known in the heat of the moment that it was genuinely him that took the car. I feel like a lot of us look at this situation in hindsight and go, of course I would know it's him, it's so obvious. But really, in high-stress situations like this, oftentimes your fight or flight takes over, and putting 2 and 2 together doesn't always equal 4, if you catch my drift. Like, I would be terrified if I walked out of an exam that I'd been stressing over, and my car was missing. So I feel for OP. This guy's being a dick about something that was premeditated, and is now blaming her for overreacting when he damn well knew this would happen. Is she just supposed to be okay with him taking the car and then ignoring her calls right after he did that? Like, no normal person would be fine with that. He is so full of horse crap, I can smell it from here. Not the a-hole OP. Now in the comments, Full Metal Tartar says, not the a-hole and dump him. He stole your car, let you worry, and can afford to go on a trip with his friends but not fix his own car? You deserve better, hun. Go get it. And he copied her key? That's a huge red flag. What else has he copied? Copying car keys also isn't cheap, and he can't afford to get his own fixed but can do that and do a monthly road trip? Where's this money coming from? The thought process here. Copied her key in advance, somehow got to her school without a car, and then found her car in a school parking lot. He didn't forget to text. This was planned out in advance. What an a-hole. So he was either following her in his mate's car, or he had a tracker on the car or her phone so he could see where she had parked. He's the a-hole and a creep. Not the a-hole. He literally stole your car like a bratty teenager when you told him no. This should make you seriously reevaluate this relationship. Not only reevaluate the relationship, but consider pressing charges because his behavior is scary, to be honest. And please, for the love of God, make this person your ex-husband soon. If your partner can't even clear the bar of, doesn't steal my car? And not the a-hole, obviously. Our next post is by user asdasdis343, titled, Am I the a-hole for not punishing my child after he corrected the teacher? So my 10-year-old son had to watch some Snoopy cartoon in class, during which Woodstock eats a roast turkey. The teacher told the class that this is fictional and that birds don't eat other birds. My son corrected her and said something along the lines of, my uncle trains falcons to hunt other birds at the airport to protect the airplanes. The teacher got upset that he was disrespectful and talking back, and sent him to the principal's office. I got called and they explained the situation, that he corrected the teacher. I said, well, was he right? And the principal said it doesn't matter. This was rude, and you need to teach your son to show some respect to authority. And I told the principal, I'm not going to punish my son or make him apologize if he was right. Maybe your teacher should be better educated. The principal looked a bit shocked and just told me to leave, which was fine by me. I'm really reconsidering this school. This has always been a weird one for me because I did the same just to be annoying though, back in primary school. So I can definitely see a reason for teachers using this just to stop a flurry of questions from annoying kids like myself who kinda deserved it, and I know I was expecting it since it was like a game to me. But surely in this situation, the teacher realized the kid was being genuine in that he used a real-life example from his uncle working at the airport. I feel like this is definitely the teacher being a dick here for pushing back on the student for no good reason. It does make me question just how often kids with good intentions get blowback from teachers, and the parents are never made aware of it. In my opinion, this was a well-deserved slap on the wrist by bringing it up with the school, and I'm voting not the a-hole OP. Now in the comments, Reasonable Raccoon says, quote, respect my authority. They revealed their true agenda. Not education, obedience. Not the a-hole. Yep, from now on, the school administration is going to watch OP's kid like hawks. Birds of a feather flock together. OP ought to check their nest egg to see if they can afford to migrate to a better school. Not the a-hole. Info. Your son is 100% correct, but if he said this in a disrespectful manner, like tone, volume, eye roll, etc., then that needs to be corrected. And edit? It's amazing what my simple and general reply has caused below, with people making many accusations and assumptions in multiple directions. Yeah, I was going to ask the same thing. You can be correct and still be an a-hole. True. Oftentimes young kids are guilty of, well, actually syndrome. They're so eager to show off their knowledge on a topic, it can come off as smug and condescending. As a kid who was obsessed with wildlife, I was definitely guilty of this in life science lessons. Luckily, I had teachers with patience for my assholishness. However, even if OP's son was a jerk about the correction, the school is still wrong. They're making him apologize for the wrong thing. They're making him apologize for being correct, instead of explaining to him how to respectfully address others and having him apologize for being rude. It's entirely possible that the teacher and principal doesn't have the emotional intelligence to verbalize why OP's son should be apologizing, so they defaulted to the most surface-level thing. I agree, and honestly I think there's a lot of context that's missing. Not saying that it's impossible, but I just find it hard to believe that both the teacher and principal are punishing a 10-year-old over something as minor as seeing other falcons hunt other birds. I've often found way too many parents think their kid is the most perfect child on the planet and that they could do no wrong. And I have a feeling this is one of those situations. Unfortunately, I've seen cases like this multiple times, so it's perfectly believable to me. My daughter was even respectful enough to wait until after class to talk to the teacher about the mistake he made in explaining the atomic model. 2 years later, and the entire administration still considers her a problem kid. So with that all in mind, what do you guys think of this one down in the comments? Is it as black and white as we're seeing? Because I do think we need more context to the situation, but I don't think we're going to get it, so I'd love to know what you guys think. And our next post is by user Apposition, titled, Am I the a-hole for not telling my ex when my PhD defense was? So I, 28 male, had my defense for my PhD in mechanical engineering yesterday afternoon. All is well in the world. My phone was on DND during the Zoom call, and so when I checked, I saw that my ex-girlfriend, 28 female, was repeatedly calling me throughout the entirety of my 2-hour defense. I called her back, and she started yelling at me that I needed to pick up our daughter, 5 female, from school, because they said she didn't feel well. My apartment is closer to my daughter's school, so I went over there, signed her out, and picked her up. As I'm driving back to my apartment, my ex called me back and I answered. She asked me why I'd been unavailable for so long, and said that anything could have happened to our daughter. I told her about my defense, and she said that I should have told her about it beforehand, but should I really have? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the a-hole. I think I might be the a-hole because I, as a co-parent, was unavailable for 2 hours, and it may have been the considerate thing to do to let her know that I'd be unreachable. So I went looking for more information from OP, because again, this is leaving out so much context and interpersonal relationship dynamics that it's hard to say really. Like, was your ex too sick to go grab your daughter? Was she on the other side of the country when this happened? Why didn't she go grab her after you not picking up for 2 hours? Why didn't you tell her that you'd be unavailable for 2 hours just as your daughter is finishing school for the day? Why was there such a failure of communication between the two of you? All these questions go unanswered by the OP, and I'm going to assume the worst and say the relationship between the two isn't all smooth sailing, the ex didn't want to go pick up their child while OP was unavailable, and OP knew their kid needed to be picked up, but had this defense and didn't make arrangements for their child in the meantime. That would lead to an everyone sucks here vote for me because of the lack of communication and just so much screw up going on. Again, very little information being provided here. I can definitely see it swinging to not the a-hole or you're the a-hole with more context. Now in the comments, Wooden Commercial 123 says, everyone sucks here. If you're going to be unavailable for hours due to a pre-planned and unavoidable conflict, it's best for your co-parent to be aware of it in advance. However, your ex should have gone to pick up your kid if she couldn't find you, instead of leaving her at school, and then calling you repeatedly for hours when she didn't know what was going on. I agree, everyone sucks here. I don't have children, but I feel like it's common sense that if you have a major conflict where you're going to be unreachable, you should tell the other parent. Even if it's just a few hours, like, what if the mother had been out of state for work? If X was out of town, presumably the child would have been in OP's custody, and this problem wouldn't exist. It depends if the school calls only one parent once they get an answer. I have 2 kids in different schools, and both schools only call me first. If I answer, even if I couldn't come, I would handle calling my husband at that point. Not saying that's what's happened here, but schools usually stop calling once someone answers. Not the a-hole. So your ex waited for 2 hours for you to answer your phone, while the 5-year-old waited to be picked up because she wasn't feeling well? That's all kinds of messed up. I understand that you live closer to the school to pick up ailing daughter, but if you weren't picking up her call, huh? After 10 to 15 minutes of you not picking up the call, she should have picked her happy ass up and gotten to pick up your daughter herself. Priorities, yes? Also, does she tell you when she will be unavailable, or does that apply only to you? Lol? I'm petty. I would be calling her now for everything longer than 20 minutes. But also, OP didn't say how far away his ex was, or whether or not she was able to pick the girl up. Maybe she should have gone herself, but there's a lot of ifs involved in that. Who knows? Maybe she was performing open heart surgery 2 states over. OP definitely should have let the ex know that he would be completely incommunicado for 2 hours. Parenting is tough. You have to be available for emergencies like this, or have contingency plans, all the time. Maybe an everyone sucks here is the most appropriate response. Everyone sucks here. Congrats on your defense, that's huge, but also, you should have told your ex. I'm in academia too. My husband has my teaching schedule blocked out on his calendar since I'll likely be unreachable during those times. His uninterruptible events go on my calendar too. If your ex could sit there spamming your phone with calls, maybe she could have gotten the kid. Maybe she had stuff then too. It's not anyone's favorite, but when you have young kids, your ex needs to be aware of serious, time-sensitive commitments. It's different being a married couple though, compared to separated co-parents. If the ex had custody, then she is solely responsible for the daughter's care. If she was going to be unavailable during part of her custody of the daughter, then she needs to let him know, not the other way around. Of course, if he had custody, then that would be his responsibility. As separated co-parents, it isn't reasonable to be required to share daily itineraries. You are only required to inform the other parent when you have events that would break the standard custody agreement. Thank you. I really can't believe people are saying that OP should have told the ex that they would be unavailable no matter what. That is completely not normal with custody arrangements and is honestly pretty ridiculous. Never mind for a mere 2 hours. That's a trivial amount of time. Would anyone get crucified because their phone is on Do Not Disturb while they sleep, and something happened during that time too? So yeah, I guess it's a bit of a hard debate. I'd love to know what you guys think about this one. Alright guys, I think that's where I'm going to end today's video. If you need a good laugh, please do check out my second channel, Markee 2, links down in the description below, or it's going to appear somewhere on the screen here at the end, little bubble with my face on it. As always, a big shout out to my Patreon and channel members. Your faces are surrounding me right now, and I love to have you guys with me, and down in the comment sections of each and every video, and just knowing that you're always there to support me. It's a humbling and lovely feeling. And rest assured, I do see you, and I do notice your support, and I thank you every day for being here and helping me along this journey. Not much else to say besides that, guys. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. I do hope that you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to. I will see you in the next video, and thank you again. Bye.